All right, guys. So today here on November 16th, I'm going back and making daily progress summary videos for all the days that I skipped because I either didn't have internet or was so busy with moving stuff that I never got around to it. So this time we're going to be looking at Friday, November 12th, 2021. And so from the perspective of Friday, the day before, which was Thursday on Veterans Day, I had brought up this idea of paying one of my friends who needs work to do some of this freelance admin work for me on my YouTube ministry, just to help me be able to put out more ministry content. We'd got everything else moved to the apartment except the big stuff. I built a table and a dish rack that had come and got those set up in the apartment. I also did laundry because we're going to be without things. So that was Thursday, the 11th here. But Friday on November 12th, I had a lot of planning goals here related to making markdown slides. So this kind of came about when I was considering what I would have my friend do if I were to hire him as a freelancer. So one of the things was going to be organizing some of the material from the slides and putting those things on the website so that they could be searched. But in that process, some of the effort I've done to make the website optimal and interactive for readers. So kind of having these iframes that are Bible study embedded windows and special content sections that are of a different background color to denote, like, hey, you should look at this. And, all of the design that went into that. Well, right now I am building the slideshow presentations using a tool that converts them from Markdown into the slides, but not all of the presentations have all of these things that I've worked on my website. And so one of the things that I was doing here was trying to get all of these various things that I have on the website kind of duplicated in the slide. Now, because it is just rendering the markdown into HTML, well, I can inject JavaScript and CSS of my own to be able to style everything exactly how I want. So it is technically possible. I just need to figure out how to do it. And in fact, something that I realized was that I'm going to have to probably write my own scripts to do some of this. So to create tables of contents programmatically, well, you can do it by hand, but it's kind of time consuming and error prone. So much better to let a computer do it. So that's something I'll have to write my own script for. I'll also have to write my own text parsing script, like using regular expressions, finding and replacing things to make use of the same shortcodes that Hugo does. Now, Hugo is the static site generator by which I build the ministry website. And also make it handle footnotes the same. So Markdown doesn't quite support footnotes out of the box here, but I want the footnote syntax to match exactly what happens on the website so that when I use this third-party JavaScript library called Littlefoot, it will make the footnotes and have good user experience. And so the output of this is that I started getting some of these things implemented. So you can see here's one of the special content sections. I made the styling match how it is on the website. This is yellow here. Now you can see it doesn't actually render Markdown, so I'm going to have to write my own text parsing, probably use a library in Python or Java or C#. I haven't quite decided what language I'm going to do this in yet, but have it render the Markdown. I'm sure there's a library that turns text from Markdown into HTML, and I'll have it do that. But here's the footnote thing there. So very good user experience on these footnotes, easy to click. You see, I have those as on the website. So these are just two examples of the things that I was implementing here to get the slides looking more like the website content. So again, all of this came about when I was talking to my friend and trying to figure out what I'd have him do if I did pay him as a freelancer. And then finally, in all of this, I was also considering one of the sections that we're going to have on the site for the slideshows is going to be the ability to download things. So you can already download the videos and the audio. I was feel very strongly about this. So for people in the developing world who don't have copious amounts of data or internet connections all the time, well, being able to view things offline is a huge, huge necessity. And so I want to make that the case. I want to allow people from everywhere to be able to make use of these materials. And so that means that I need to figure out a way to let these things be downloadable. Now, you could just export to a PDF or a Word document or whatever, but then you don't have access to all of the functionality that's so great. So being able to cross-link to Bible passages and have the footnotes and all of the referenceability that makes HTML like the web so great, the linkages. And so I needed to figure out a way how to make the slideshows themselves downloadable. Now you can do that. You need local copies of all of the JavaScript running on the page. So conventionally, you kind of link to a cloud API that kind of spits you the library that you want to use. But if you download it, you can just embed it directly. So that's what I need to do. I'd also need to get all images rather than referencing things from a static image cache on my website. I need to actually have the images in the local directory. So I spent some time thinking about that too. So you can see quite a lot of planning here. I also took a nap after I got home from work. I was exhausted on Friday. It'd been a long week already organizing stuff for the move, and I was just like got home and was like, nope, I'm not doing work. I actually today, earlier in the day, when I was at work, so on Friday the 11th here, I actually went in and talked to my employer about the possibility of me hiring my friend like this. Now, the reason why I did this is because I work on an Air Force base and I have a security clearance as a professional in the Department of Defense. And I have to be careful how I interact with people who are not citizens of our country. And so I wanted to be very clear and upfront about this. I explained the situation and the idea, and I was trying to get kind of their feedback. Now, there is no yes or no. It's not like you're given an ultimatum of lose your job or do this, but you can kind of tell by the situation and the expertise of the security advisors, kind of whether it's a good idea in my situation or not. And it turns out that this particular situation with my friend who is not a United States citizen, who I would be hiring to work, it just isn't going to be the most compatible with my job and my career goals here. And I really don't want to put the job in jeopardy. So that ended up being a no-go, but I'm not sad I spent all of the time on this. It helped me kind of organize my thoughts. And I still think the idea of me hiring someone part-time to help with some of the administrative load is a very excellent idea. This particular case didn't work out though. And so I had that meeting with the security advisors about this, pretty straightforward. This is just one of the things you accept when you work in a defense position, is that you will have to be careful what ties and attachments you form. And having financial ties is a step above interacting with someone as a friend. And so you just have to keep these things in mind. I'm not really bitter about it. It's just kind of a fact. It's the nature of the beast working where I do. And so, just practical discussion about that, which, again, not the end of the world, but not also perhaps the best news. So all of these things were what I got done here on Friday, November 12th. And in just a second, we'll pick up with the next video for the 13th.